People are loyal Ubuntu users here. I'm curious. I've caught myself.
Loyal so far.
Loyal so far, yeah.
Well, I use Mint.
Not counting the last one.
I use it with a KDE desktop.
Okay, yeah. I tried the KDE desktop.
Plasma sucks.
Despise for Unity. It
Certainly sucks my RAM.
I have a bunch of. Well, how this is going to work? I guess I'll explain how this is going to work. George and I met yesterday trying to figure out what we're going to do. And the fist fight sounded like fun, but you know, he'd win. So
I don't know about it.
You've never seen it.
I've known George for quite a few years.
I have like 10 or 11 questions here. My big issues with Unity, and I'm going to present them to George. One, we hope we can then have him explain the answers on the screen and show us all. I talked with him yesterday. He has some good answers to some things, and some things not so much. So at the end, I don't think it's going to take a full hour.
Did you see the presentation?
Yeah, I was there. Yep. No screens, nothing. What'd they say?
Did you arrange a projector ahead of time? I was like,
no. We've presented for years. I've never arranged a projector. I don't know.
well, sorry. I mean, I was like, I didn't even know I was supposed to be here.
Yeah.
So, screw it. Let's give you guys your money.
Okay, so anyway, I'm going to ask George questions. He's going to answer.
Okay.
I'm going to be like.
But we want to be able to see what the question's about.
So you have to imagine that the Open Office presentation I have here is amazing.
We can probably imagine that better than the next one.
Yeah, maybe you guys can like scoot up a little bit, and you can at least, when I point to stuff, you can at least see like that side of the
Yeah, you
screen.
can maybe do that. Just
What?
yeah, we could just sort of
Yeah.
kind of gather around.
Let's get cozy. Let's get some.
Pretend we're a Linux community.
You noticed the Ubuntu brown because I was a little upset about changes.
You know, people digging this for like 5 years. It just looks ugly. It's like crap.
Hey, Mary,
Something else.
throw this next to Tony's bag there for me.
Why does anybody care?
You know, I still think I heard less crap about Unity than I heard about the damn button stuff.
All right, so now you guys are gonna have questions too, and please ask them when you're done. Okay, I'm of the opinion if it ain't broke, don't.
Could you move your coffee cup?
Yes.
Yes. So George, was Ubuntu broken enough to completely reinvent it?
Oh, jeez, that's.
Oh!
Come on, right off the bat, buddy. Yeah. So, George, when did you stop beating your wife?
Congratulations for shipping a release would be nice. I have business cards if you guys want to send me mails after and you're not satisfied with my excuses.
I have fewer because I'm less interested.
Yeah. So, first of all, Ubuntu as a whole is not broken, right? The desktop shell part that you see is like a really low percentage compared to the rest. Now you can make the argument that the other parts are broken for whatever reason, right? It's a bug, or you always have a kernel regression sometimes with certain hardware, right? You do an upgrade and the browser doesn't work again, that kind of stuff. So, you know, that experience or whatever is still unchanged. The Ubuntu server is still the same, that kind of stuff. However, the most visible part to Linux desktop users would be the shell. So it's the equivalent of, I think, of not redoing your house, but like putting a coat of paint on it and adding a new porch and tearing down that old veranda or whatever. But it's still the same house. I mean, yeah.
Under your bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little more than a coat of paint.
I was practicing on Josh yesterday on how I was going to respond to ridiculous questions. When you get along and you're far enough in a in a project and mature enough, you have to kind of like take responsibility for your own technology. So it's like if I was like my own small company, I would like rent my servers and co-locate and stuff. And at some point, I need to like bring my stuff in-house, run my own data centers, be in charge of like, the core part of our user experience. So Canonical's invested a lot of money in like a design team. We do user testing and all this kind of stuff. And GNOME was going in a different direction when we were going. And at the time when we made the decision, GNOME 3's been delayed like to a year. Now it's out. But back when you had to make these kind of decisions, it was they were kind of going one way, we were going another way, and we wanted to do more user testing based design, and you know, sort of like moving out of your mom's house, right? We've been shipping GNOME for 7 years, but at some point we have to, Mark calls it taking the leap and take charge of our own user experience.
So was it the change predicated on the fact that GNOME was changing to 3, which I also don't like GNOME 3. I mean, to be honest, if he would have used GNOME 3, I would have probably been here just as much. Not liking it, but was the change?
If I give you money, you're going to complain you have to pay taxes.
You give it to him as a gift, you have to pay taxes on it.
Yeah.
Under $10,000.
Yeah.
If it's over $10,000,
Yeah, everyone's like, oh, I tried that.
I'll try and I'll let you know if I'm upset. Give me money.
I'm going to burn your house down.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was
Soon, man.
Yeah.
So, but I'm just curious, is it change predicated on inevitable change from GNOME 3, or was there something inherently wrong with the GNOME 2 way of doing things?
Well, there's certain parts of GNOME 3 were definitely crap. But people have known this. Like the GNOME panel's always been crap, right? It had these like bonobo core objects that the panels were written in. So I don't know if you guys have ever like tried to plug it in, or your resolution changes on your GNOME panels, and like, you know, all the applets and icons like rearrange themselves and stuff, and no one can ever figure out. In 1010, you ever have the bug where like half of the icon would like render, and you have to like click on like the 1 pixel border,
Or you have to kill the panel.
or you have to kill the panel.
Yeah.
It's just, it was a ton of crap that's just been piled up over
So, I mean, I'm
years.
just looking for that. I mean,
Oh yeah, yeah. Now that said, I mean, it's not like we totally threw away GNOME. Like, you know, your desktop is still Nautilus, right? Your browser is still Firefox. Really, what it is we replace GNOME panel with the Unity panel and launcher. So the GNOME desktop really is like the GNOME session file. That's the equivalent of, hey, run GNOME panel when I log in, right? And that's like, you guys remember .x and .rc when you would like change that with Enlightenment, and then you would run Enlightenment and stuff. So GNOME was really just GNOME session and then GNOME panel, and then Nautilus running the desktop. So we basically replace the GNOME panel with the Unity. Okay. Yes.
First of all, I use Ubuntu, so
Uh-huh.
I'm not sure I have a horse running in this particular race, but
Yeah, but you did. You went through this KDE3, KDE4.
well, we did,
Yeah.
and I'm happy with KDE now, although it was rough. But Simon Phipps said something recently that I thought was pretty relevant here. He was talking more about forking, but you know, it's a similar kind of problem. He said, look, evolution works through mutation. If you don't have change, then you don't have an opportunity to select the best. And so, you know, his point was forking is healthy. And, you know, because it gives us opportunities.
Sure is a lot of fun.
Well, and I think,
Forking is healthy except for the part that loses out. I mean, if you fork Ubuntu and everybody hates Unity and Fedora wins because they stuck with regular vanilla GNOME,
Then
That's-
you get another switch about 6 months later.
that's maybe good for the community as a whole, but it's certainly bad for Ubuntu.
that's the risk you take.
Well, you've got to have diversity in order to have selection.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. George, what's going on with the notification area? Even in classic mode, some applications don't work right. Up until 2 days ago, Dropbox was one of them. What drastically changed and why?
So in classic mode, this is fixed now. You'll get what you got in 10.10. You'll get the old notification.
That's recent though, because
Yeah.
on the release that I installed.
Yeah, and Dropbox only fixed their stuff like on release day, because we couldn't fix it because it's not open. But they fixed it. They actually fixed it now. And it has a cool.
Yeah, it's working on mine.
matching
You can look
icon.
up here. Oh no, it's full screen.
Yeah. Yeah, I sent them a mail. I'm like, hey, you guys might want to fix this stuff.
So what changed though? I mean, what? Like some apps, for example, I used
Yeah.
Not Great
So
because I was
yeah.
on
So
the background.
so this will be controversial, and
That's why I brought it up.
yeah, it's kind of my fault. But so in 10.10 we deprecated the old. I'm sorry, in 10.04 we deprecated the old notification area. It's like the X embed thing. So this had a lot of problems. This is why we deprecated it. And then we kept it around, calling it the vestigial notification area, but nobody bothered to port their apps to the new thing anyway. So this time when we're doing with Unity, and Neil was writing the panel, he's like, I'm not effing writing another notification thing, because you have to X embed it into the thing, and then we're going to end up with the same crap we had in the old GNOME panel. So screw that. I'm not writing another XMPEG thing. I'm not writing another XMPEG thing. And then he's like, crap, I have to write another XMPEG thing for like 3 apps. Skype, because we can't change Skype, and everybody needs Skype. I mean, whatever your thoughts on Skype is, people need it. I mean, we have OEM customers, and you can't sell an OEM laptop on Skype. That's just how it is. Mumble, which is like a VoIP thing that we use internally and with partners and stuff, and that's pure cute, and we'll eventually go to the application indicators. There was one more. Dropbox initially, but then we removed it when Dropbox fixed themselves. There was one more. Oh, it's like the HP printer thing. You plug in an HP printer and it does automatic configuration and stuff, which is actually kick-ass. The icon, not so much. So we did that, and then by default, I didn't make this decision. I'm just the implementer. We decided, you know what? We've given people like a year. If they haven't ported it by now, screw it. We're just not going to show the thing, because then we'll get other bugs and stuff like that. And we have classic mode anyway, and no one's going to mess with it. So during the year, so I'm in charge of the guy that goes to every application and says, dude, you might want to move. You know, we're going to get rid of these eventually. And usually, what happened, what the design team wanted to happen was, you know, you click X and it goes into the notification area. That's like the Windows way, right? Like you see people's Windows computers and they have like a whole filled system tray of like colors with like toaster icons, and they all kind of suck. And we've always been of the opinion that it's like, dude, give people power, you know, the name with the me thing, the battery, the network, the volume, and then everything else can go in the launcher or somewhere else. Because programs just use it as like a cheap minimization, right? Because they're like, I want my program to be running, but I don't want it in my bar because it gets in the way.
But shouldn't users have that option?
So we're like, you know what? All that really should be there is the system stuff you care about, like you know, your volume and stuff. All the other apps can go someplace else, because when you hit X, damn it, it's supposed to close the application. But in some applications, you click it and they keep running. So like, you don't know. And on top of that, the XMPEG ones aren't accessible. So there's no keyboard shortcuts. And more and more of our desktop has to be accessible, because A, it's one of Ubuntu's like pillar missions or whatever to be accessible to everyone. And B, if you're going to get into government installations and stuff, you have to be accessible. It's like a law. So right now, our menu is scrubbable. So if I hit F10, all right. So if you hit F10, you scrub, and the menu keeps going, right? And you can just move all the way around. So you can use the entire interface with your keyboard. So that's
the only good thing about me.
Right. So, long story short, if you see something that's very keyboardable, it means that's what like screen readers use to like read and move stuff. So like, I don't know if you've seen people with accessible.
I have friends who are blind.
Yeah, they have like
mouse doesn't do anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Or even if you lose your Bluetooth mouse.
Right. So there were some problems with this. Number one is we proposed it to GNOME. They didn't like it. So they didn't like it because we based it off a KDE spec, and they felt it was too over-engineered. And then KDE and GNOME went back and forth in free desktop or whatever for a little while, and it kind of didn't go anywhere. And we said, well, you know what? App developers have to do it in KDE anyway. So, you know, if you guys are going to sit around, we're just going to ship it. So, because we think it's better for our users. So, as a result of that, we had like a year transition, and some applications just like didn't do it. And a lot of good applications decided, you know what? All I ever did was put that icon in there so people can just like launch my application. And you know what? It is right that is kind of becoming a mess up there, and they just got rid of the feature. So now it's like nice and clean up here, which I like. Now, however, some people don't like that because the XMPEG thing's been around for like 15 years. So yeah, that was another tough choice. It's like one of those things where it's like, I hate when my mom used to make me clean the basement, and like, because I had everything where it was, and then now that we're draining the swamp and apps are starting to do it, so now that like Dropbox is caught up and stuff like that.
There's like the whitelist thing, you can whitelist.
Yeah, so the vestigial thing is still there. We do it for those 3 apps, and we have a whitelist. Originally, the whitelist was for 2 apps. Java, because nobody ever fixes Java, and Wine, because it's designed to run Windows applications, and all Windows applications do that. So The whitelist includes Java and Y. So you can go in there, if there's an app that like you absolutely need to have whitelisted, you can do that.
This is a point that I'm going to make too, and we talked about this yesterday.
Okay.
How many of you knew that there was this change going on in system trays stuff where things went up? Did you? I didn't, and so like 3 or 4 out of the room. I think that
Theoretically, though, you should have not noticed the difference.
okay, but we did. I mean, we did. But I think if communication is one of those things. We had no idea that since 10.04 this was something that was deprecated. At least most users didn't know. So I think now with Unity, there's so many changes. There's one more thing.
Yeah. People are like, "Hey, you changed the icons." I was like, "Wait a minute," because people were arguing on the development list. They're like, there's like one change too many and stuff. I was like, dude, I'm pretty sure we deprecated this a year ago. But the problem is that everything else changed, so that's just one more thing. And people have been doing this. They're like, I think Unity sucks. I can't get my NVIDIA card to work. I'm like, no, dude, that's normal. Ubuntu sucks.
So that's not necessarily Unity related. It was like that in the past few years.
Yeah, actually, we did the icon things. Well, first we did the notification, the bubbles, and you don't like those either. And then we did.
I just want to go away. I can't make them go away.
Yeah, and then
Live notified.
these we did next.
Okay.
And then we felt we were good enough to do the entire desktop from scratch.
Okay. Let's see.
For what it's worth, that's one part of Unity I do like, the notification.
The bubbles?
No, the notification behavior, just getting rid of XML.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good direction.
Yeah, I mean, it has a lot of, like, so I'm not a hacker, but like, when you talk to people who have to support this stuff, like the XML, like, it's part of the reason that, like, you can't change the resolution and the desktop not blow up.
For me, it's just applications. Like I want to change my desktop background every 5 minutes.
Yeah,
right. That. I do use desktop breaks for that because I don't know what else to use.
Yeah, but see, desktop drapes is unmaintained as well.
So what should I use? There's another one. I don't know what's it called.
Yeah. I don't know.
Anyway, but that's the thing.
Yeah, I think it's a win because now we tell app developers just use KSNI, which is the KDE thing, and it works in both KDE and and it doesn't just work; it renders the menu. So when you run a KDE app in Unity, the menu you click on it looks like a GTK menu.
Nice.
If you run Rhythmbox in KDE, it looks like a KDE Plasma. What do you guys call it?
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So
I think it is a good win. It's just.
Okay. Why do you hate menus so much? Were you beaten with takeout menus as a child or something? Can I get back a regular menu? Of all the things Unity changes that I don't like,
You don't like the top menu?
dash. No, the dash. I want to click on the menu.
Oh, okay. So are we arguing about the top menu because people hate that too?
Which top menu?
The
Oh, no,
Apple
that's another question.
Oh, okay. So
The dash. I just want to have.
So I can't really-
clicking on you.
I can't really like it.
Am I alone? Am I the only one that thinks the dash is an awkward way to do things?
Are we talking about the application menu?
Yeah, he wants to go and find all his applications.
Yes.
instead of just typing.
It's
Thank
not
you.
there.
Okay,
You're
but
like that.
and here's my problem, and I won't demonstrate here, but if I click on like the old school classic menu,
Right.
one click, the menu's there, I find what I want, click and it starts. Now if I want to go and find categories and stuff, I have to click, open up the
Yeah.
and like I click on more apps or the plus,
Yeah.
and
So
then
your
there's
problem
a menu
isn't
up
the
in this
dash.
corner.
Your problem is the application. This thing.
Well, I think the problem is that you're used to something that you've been using for 30 years. That you've built up this knowledge base, and now all that's gone.
40 years.
Yeah, young, though, and even if it was different, I'm okay with that. But the functionality's gone. I mean, well, not gone, but it takes 5 clicks to do what I could do with 1 click, and that's the part that's
That's less
frustrating.
discoverable too.
And I think that, because like I said, you have to click. If you look, I did a video on the external about frustrations with Unity, and the one thing that I was really struggling with is I click on that, and then like the third icon is more applications or a plus or something.
Oh, this one.
And then, so you click on there. Okay, and then
This
the
thing.
third app, you click on that, and then up in the upper right-hand corner, there's a thing that says application things. And then if you pick on one of those categories, then you get another one of the lists.
Yeah.
It was very awkward.
So your problem is mostly that's the applications lens, which is
Okay.
also my least favorite part.
Okay.
Just let you know.
Also,
Yes. I don't know anyone who's like,
There was
"Oh, I
one
can't wait to
more.
use the applications lens. It's awesome.
You know that file rock didn't begin with an A for solitaire, and began with an S. My parents would never be able to use the computer.
They can't just. Yeah, I get. Yeah. See, the reason I don't see that as much is I don't.
Use the no do thing. Right?
Yeah, I hit the Windows key and just start typing, and I always find what I want.
Okay.
But I can understand. I can totally sympathize with
I have
this
a misplaced slide here that says, and saying type it out isn't fair because that's not a menu issue. That's no. It's
okay.
a misplaced
But
slide.
sometimes you don't remember what the application is called. You remember what the icon looks like,
right.
or you don't know what you've got installed. It's like what word processor is on this computer.
Right.
I got some of that.
Yeah. So I
start.
tried this with Craig. It was like, oh, I need to do a network setting. So I typed network, and it showed the thing I want. And then I go, oh, okay, what happens if you want to adjust DNS? So I typed DNS, and nothing came up. So it's like, dude, that should still bring up the network thing. So, yeah, you're talking about the applications lens, which I agree is absolutely not ideal, and I'm looking forward to the next version of that.
Sean,
Because it sucks, right? I mean, you have to scroll. You
Because
had
you've got
categories
internet that
before.
says web browser.
Yeah.
We still have some categories. There are.
Yeah, there's some, but then the rest we pile in this. I don't know if you can see this.
Yeah.
We just dump it all in here. Yeah, that's pretty crap.
Now I assume somebody probably will write a nice little app that maybe can be embedded somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah, so this
This
is great. This is great because that's a lens, and you can write. So okay,
I
anytime.
have a lens question in Google This.
Yeah, anytime you do that, you can customize these things. We call them lenses. So I would really like to see someone write. Actually, you can help me with that. We can say we need someone to write a more classic lens. We'll call it the classic
menu lens.
Classic menu lens.
Because I can't tell you how many users I have who think their word processor is Windows XP. They know it.
Yeah, that goes into that problem with app naming. Like there was some complaints on, I think it was some posts on Alex or today about that. But like, you're looking for run a scanner, it's X same. That doesn't really, it's not really logical.
Right, but I think if you type
It does have some metadata in some of them. I'll see if the type scanner or data.
That's looking. Looks like it. See, sometimes it does. Like if I write text. No, it's totally
Sometimes
like.
it does this.
Yeah, so if I type text, it finds text editor and LibreOffice Writer.
And text file probably.
And some text files at the bottom. But if I type, what is this?
Xane or scanner.
I get nothing. That's crap.
So.
Yeah, because nobody's going to call it Xane.
Yeah.
Well, we do simple scan.
Yeah.
What about graphics?
Oh, if I type simple scan comes up. But if I type scan
Okay,
doesn't
there's a
come
bug.
up. Oh no, it does
But
now.
not scanner.
But not scanner.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, do not. Okay, that's a bug. I'm gonna report that one. That's a good one.
Okay.
So
the would just be somebody customizing, making a custom lens for the old curmudgeon menu or whatever.
yeah, like what I would like to see is just,
curmudgeon menu.
so these lenses are like yeah, these lenses are like $300.
with a K.
So we can easily have people just prototyping whatever menus you guys want.
Or we can make a separate lens, one for applications, one for places, and one for system.
Yeah. And actually, this is the question where it says no do answers don't count, so we'll just skip that one.
Okay.
The dock, or whatever it's called. What is it called? Launcher. I've heard the arguments about the new dock being a more efficient use of the screen real estate. I don't think I agree. But even with that said, why am I forced to use the Ubuntu way? Why can't I move or resize that stupid thing on the left-hand side of it?
So resize you can do. It's just hidden in an option right now.
And
you don't have like a cool
I baited you because I knew that after yesterday.
Yeah, I explained the story. Actually, all right. So see now you get the cool. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
and that's
So
why I wrote it up.
right. So by default, the launchers. Can you put out?
Because I made mine huge just for this exact reason.
Well, you made yours default.
No, I made it bigger. See, minimize on the right side of the screen.
And you're also upside down and backwards. So like by default, we do.
You also got a coffee cup in the way.
Like 128 pixels.
No, we do
48
48 by default.
48.
And then I prefer 32, which gives me a lot more room, and it's also less out of the way. So
More out of the way.
more out of the way. Thank you.
That's how the Ubuntu way.
So now this is cool because I was actually in the conversation when Mark was talking about this. So he was like, it's stupid. He goes, we sell screens for different sizes or whatever, and it's really stupid that we always give people the same size depending on the resolution. He's like, that's dumb. If they're on a really small screen netbook, make it small. If they're on a bigger screen, either give it more or. He's like, we're smart people. We should be able to figure that out, right? So that it's like dynamic based on resolution. You know, maybe you start to put more apps on it, it gets, you know, smaller, just something smart. And the team never really got around to doing it. And he was like, you know what, if I can't do it right, I just don't want to stick a configuration in there and it'll suck, which that's what we ended up with. But so he's like, if you can't do it right, I don't want to do it at all. So the team just concentrated on making the launcher, you know, bug-free and not suck, you know, in those areas. And then a community contributor was like, I think I could do the resizing. And we're like, okay, give it a shot. So he did it, and you can actually get down to the pixel, so it can go like 32, 33, 34,
You can't go below 32 though.
What?
24, you can't go below 32.
No, 32 because no, that's just the icons that we chose.
Oh.
Because for scaling issues, and I wish Jason was here to explain it. But so like he did this, and we landed and we thought it was cool. And then later on, we found that the overlays for the super keys, and when you do a download, we have a little progress meter that we put there, weren't scaled right, so they were like too big. And Mark, I remember in the bug, Mark was like, "See, I told you guys to start adding options, and it wouldn't test this crap, and now we ended up with this stuff. You know, either fix it, or I'm going to remove it entirely." So the guy went back and fixed it. Now it looks pretty nice, but it's just one of those things that we need to put more thought into how we're going to do it.
Anyways, this is where, because it's a friendly crowd and everybody knows I'm joking,
Yeah.
it kind of sounds like it's not ready. Kind of like Vista was, right?
Yeah,
When
well,
they
don't
released
say
it.
Vista. Plenty of other
Okay,
examples. I'll
KDE
finish off with it.
KDE 4.0 then.
No,
What is the same edition?
Right. I'm just kidding.
No, but it just,
Well, it's a trade-off. Okay, so for someone like you might think that's unfinished.
okay.
Right? Like, my wife doesn't give a shit like what size her launcher is. She just clicks on Firefox and goes to the web. So it really depends. Now, don't get me wrong. As you can see, I like to, you know, maximize my stuff yet. But, you know, for this cycle, it was very much about picking defaults and making it robust and all that stuff. So for 11.10, I already have some ideas that I'm going to run by them about having it.
Is it possible, I mean, I saw OMG Ubuntu has this like huge list of features. Is there
Yeah.
like some ultimate Ubuntu Unity hackers guide that we can actually customize things? Because there's no tools.
I did make one. It's called the Power User's Guide to Unity. Just search for that in Google, and you'll see on my blog. And what I did is I linked together all the configuration options. There's one configuration tool, CCSM, which is kind of a steaming pile of crap. But it's all at least in one place. So you can do about config.
So it's one big.
About config doesn't work for me.
You have to Alt F2. Nice. Because that's where the Easter eggs are.
Okay.
We did some Easter eggs.
Okay. All right.
See, but you don't care about those.
Actually, but not here.
Sorry, question.
Going back to what you said earlier about the launcher, the driving factor behind it was screen real estate.
Yeah.
Back when I had a 17-inch cathode ray tube and I was running at 1024 by 768, I had the two bars and nobody ever complained. Now that we've got 1900 by 1200 pixels here and 1920 by 1200 pixels here, now all of a sudden we're worried about screen real estate?
Yeah. Just back then, nobody did user testing. It's like really kind of an embarrassment to us all.
I think Netflix is probably
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure that was the Netflix.
That and 13 by 7 monitors. I don't remember the exact resolution.
12 by 9.
Oh, you mean 16 by 9 monitors?
16 by 9, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the 1300 by 768. I don't remember the exact number.
Yeah. Yeah.
Will we ever be able to move the launcher?
That probably not. It's designed to be welded to the button. Now, ask me in a week, because a lot of people are really wanting that, and
I
someone
probably
might move it to
but
it.
it's kind of funny. I want to have the option.
Okay.
That's just, I mean, it's,
If we move it to the right, we basically invented Window Maker again.
And move it to the bottom, then you have a Mac.
They're like, we're redesigning, blah blah blah. I was like, dude, this Window Maker.
Yeah.
All we need is we need a Window Maker lens. That will do that paperclip thing with the Window Maker.
Seriously?
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
I'm actually gonna write that.
This is,
A Window Maker lens.
I think this has already answered it. Just, I'm not my grandma, so I've read Unity is simpler for new users. Personally, I think the menu idea was simplistic. And even my kindergartners, I work at a school district, kindergartners never had a problem with this whole menu idea. But why have you forced Unity's supposed new friendly interface on us all? And I think you've already answered that. Whether or not I agree with that, I don't know, but at least you explained.
Yeah, and remember, like, in your use case, especially if you're at a school, just stick when I was, at OU, I always stuck with the old.
And me too. And my teachers,
stick with an LTS for a while.
and my teachers will freak out.
Yeah.
If I do, I mean, really, the students.
Absolutely, dude. If you're deploying Linux, keep it in LTS, and that gives us 2 cycles to make, an application lens that doesn't suck.
Okay.
So, yeah. You should, if you're deploying it like work or at schools, you should always be like
And
an
I'm
absolute most conservative.
And we had this talk yesterday. I was
Yeah.
using LTS except the Intel driver for the thin clients I have.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Well, too, isn't it tough on like teachers who have all their written material for their students using these menu things, and now it's like throw that all away and redo it?
Yeah, you should talk to the documentation team. They're all suicidal and stuff. Throw away 7 years worth of work.
All right, here's the final.
Hey man, you're making omelets. You gotta break some eggs.
Yeah, but if you're one of the eggs.
Yeah.
File-edit view. I understand the global menu for the
Oh,
screen.
this is gonna be nice.
But I use Linux on a huge monitor. My mouse has to pack a sandwich to get to the menu up in the top of the screen. How can I get regular menus?
Yeah. So the
Menus are currently a theme that I have going.
That's okay. It's okay. So you can remove one package, and then you log out and log back in, and it's gone. So the package name is indicator-at menu. Just Google for how do I remove the global menu in Ubuntu. It's at the top. So you remove one package, and then we just revert to the old style.
And it's just indicator dash. What is it?
At menu.
At menu.
Yeah.
It's interesting because like the me menu is the same type of thing.
Yeah.
And if you want to get rid of the me menu, indicator dash me.
Yeah,
Indicator
because
messages.
they're separate packages because they're done right. So you can just remove the package and it removes the icon. See, thought of. No, it's indicator at menu. Also, too, certain old applications are whitelisted. So if you're running Eclipse, because we don't have like the Java support, the Eclipse will run.
I see LibreOffice is now. It was
So LibreOffice.
It's up in the global menu.
Did you install the package?
Last night I installed it.
Yeah. So we have that package, but not enabled by default.
Are you sure? I mean, I saw last night. Now if I think it's in the global menu.
Yeah, but you installed the package. We don't provide it.
No, we just installed the
No, I just
distribution.
installed it Ubuntu
Oh, really?
last night, and yeah, I'm up in the global menu.
No, you're not. Your menu's down here.
Oh, okay.
The global menu shoves it up here, so you get.
Oh, that's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
Things up there because it's maximized. All right, never mind. Still
So
sucks.
for 1110, LibreOffice will be on. Your Firefox will show,
Okay.
and if you're at my.
Oh, so it's like the netbook
Yeah.
remix at the top.
Yeah. It looks really good with Fire. I did my 1104 technical talk yesterday.
Right.
That
Which was good.
Like if you do Firefox, like we give you, and I blame Google Chrome for this, when they were like, you know what, everyone's sick of like 50 title bars. Let's just show them as much as the web page as possible. So we're trying to kind of do that.
In
as
your
our
power
process.
user guide is the get rid of the menu.
Yes,
Get that on it.
absolutely. I actually went through Ask Ubuntu and found the frequently asked questions of everything that everybody hated. And I put those frequently asked questions. So you can do that. I show you how to resize the launcher. Actually, keep going. I'll tell you what I have.
Okay. Workspaces. While it's very Apple-y to use the expose-like things to view workspaces, it still takes 2 clicks, whereas it used to just take 1 to like click on the little thing and go back and forth. Is there? What's the change with that? And
So
also, I'm curious how that works in Unity 2D.
It looks awesome in 2D. I showed it yesterday.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So
your problem is that the little icon used to be able to
click in between.
Yeah.
And this was actually not me. This didn't bother me as much, but in my comments, in my video on Linux Journal, some people said, "Well, I agree with you, Sean, but I also hate the workspace changing thing."
Yeah.
So I thought it was fair to bring it
I
up.
know that workspace switching is going to be looking for a major rehaul in 1110.
In your defense, it's a lot nicer. The KDE 4 way of doing things. Did anybody go to the KDE session? I was blown. I mean, there's workspaces, and then there's types of sessions, and there's workspaces inside sessions, inside something. It was really confusing.
Yeah.
Sorry. So KDE people, that was wow.
Yeah, I actually didn't know. I didn't notice that because I always use the switcher just to see where I'm at because I'm just like, so I'm a very keyboard oriented guy. I'm just control alt arrow keys.
Yeah.
So I never really actually like move my mouse there to, because I have two monitors at home, right? I have a 24 and a 22, and then a Synergy over here. So first of all, another limitation is because there's a border here, I have to have my dock always show. So you can change the auto hide behavior, by the way.
That's another CCSN comment.
Yeah. So like, because that's a Synergy border, so I can't like edge resistance to make it come out without moving to another computer. But that little workspace switcher is like in the bottom right by default, and it's this little thing, and I have this huge thing, so I always just control arrow keys to move around. And actually, in defense of the global menu, when you're in multiple monitors, we put another panel in the menu for that app there, and the menu for that app there. So. But yeah, that is a good point for mouse users. I personally hate it for another reason. The icon looks like a terminal. When we had a jam at in Ann Arbor, and everyone clicked on it thinking it was a terminal, and it's like a workspace switcher. And that's just a stupid icon.
There's a bug that if I click on it, it doesn't bring anything up. But I think that's just my computer because I've seen everybody else. That hasn't been a bug for anybody, but
Okay.
I had that problem for a while.
did you?
It's working out.
It's working out. Yeah. Let's see if it works now. I'm curious.
I think I reinstalled
Super
it,
S.
stuff like that.
What's that?
Super S.
For what?
The shortcut.
For what?
Instead of clicking on it.
Yeah.
Well, I want to see if clicking on it works.
Oh! What's going on there? Alright, find me Android.
Again, I think
Probably there's your comp is workspaces are set to 1 or something like that instead of 4.
Again, I don't think that's just a me bug.
Personally, I also. What do you guys think? Because I want to hear them talk as well.
Please.
What do you guys think about switching back to 2x2 instead of 1x4 for your virtual workspaces?
Does anybody care?
I remind all 1, 2, 3, 4 in my workspaces, so I don't even see where they are in relationship to each other. I just go right to the one. Doesn't matter.
I actually always did a 1, 2, 3 because I like to see compass switch with a triangle instead of a cube.
I used to set it to 2 because it just flips over on a piece of paper.
Also, the cube thing, it says it disables Unity. That's a whole other talking about that.
Yeah, so we're not testing the cube right now, and there's kind of some workarounds, but if you break it, you get it.
Right.
Don't worry, I'm gonna bring the cube back. Because everyone's like, you can't take the cube, and I really like the cube. But the team were like, we're not gonna test every possible option for every. So Compass has like 900 plugins, and we hired 2 of the Compass guys now work for us. And we're like, the main goal, especially for this release, is like stability and stuff. So each thing that we ship, you're gonna write like unit tests, and there's so many plugins. It's like something's. I would like the cube to come. So I guess people really like the cube and file bugs, and we're whining. And I was like, I don't need whiners. I need someone who can help test to fix the cube, and someone volunteered. So I'd like to bring the cube back. It's cute.
Because right now, in order to enable that, it says I had disabled Unity. How's that work?
Yeah. So what we did is like, well, when we're running Unity, we don't want you to run the cube at the same time because it could crash.
So if I disabled Unity, well, I didn't try it because I mean.
Well, so what you do is you go into an XML file and you tell CCSM, don't even show that button, it just enables the cube.
Okay.
And then it turns it on with Unity. And then it might or might not work.
Okay. All right. Next question. Lenses, they look cool. I only heard about them yesterday because of our conversation with you.
Yeah.
Where do I get them? Why can't I move them? Why are they stuck in the bottom? I want them on top.
Yeah.
Because I'm contrary.
So, I don't know why they're all at the bottom. I don't even know.
You guys know what lenses are? I didn't.
Yeah.
So
No.
they're
I heard George say the word like 12 times yesterday, but I still don't know what
lenses
they
are the individual things on the bottom
So-
of your application on your.
No, so this thing,
laptop.
okay, let's do some terminology.
Yeah, please.
Can we move the pop cans?
How's this? Oh, sorry. All right. So when you hit the Windows key, this is what we call the dash. It's like kind of Quake window thing that you can start typing in, right? So what you can do is you can make custom ones. So it's like translucent, right? So I guess the designer was like, "Oh, be clever," and called them lenses. So when you take that kind of thing, you can put whatever kind of UI you want in there. Okay? So this is the applications lens, which shows you applications, and then, man, you're right. This is hard.
Yeah, it's really hard. So how many lenses come built in? The application lens comes
Lens
built
and
in.
the files lens, which kind of shows you your recently used
Okay.
and stuff. So there are third-party lenses like
Did you point out where they are? I mean, they're the icons on the bottom left.
They're kind of like black, translucently.
Yeah,
looking
at the bottom. I
icons
saw
there.
them yesterday.
Right. Yeah.
At the bottom of your.
Yeah, and then does this work? So people can write lenses that connect to web services. So this is a lens that connects to like Stack Overflow, right? So I
Which
can
you
answer-
showed yesterday.
Yeah, so I can type like Unity keyboard shortcuts.
And it's gonna then it'll bring up all the Stack Overflow stuff for Unity keyboard shortcuts.
Right. So, and
Does it not
then
install
and now
mine?
how do I get lenses? So-
that's the second part of this question.
Yeah, 1 second.
Okay.
Since I actually have it working now, hold on.
You're doing the book thing, aren't you?
The book one did not work for me.
Yeah, it did not work yesterday.
It worked
we
in the
kept
bar.
going back to the Dune search.
Yeah. I got the Dune search working. So this is cool here. So someone made a lens that all it does is connect to Google Books. So you type Dune and it returns like the
All 16 Dune books?
yeah, and there's the author like there, so you can click on it. It'll take you to like his biography. But the cool thing is when you click on Dune. I don't know if Google Books did this, but it takes you to Dune and you can just start reading it. Yeah.
How do they do that?
I don't know how that's like legal.
The copyright.
You only get
It's only part of it.
Oh, okay.
No,
we
it's
scrolled through it.
yeah, it's pretty huge. But anyway, the idea is that we want people to make lenses like a YouTube lens.
Alright,
I want
so
someone to
where
make
do
a-
I get lenses?
Okay.
How do I install them?
So these two lenses have PPAs. This is in my power guide for those. Currently, the Books lens, the Ask Ubuntu lens, the YouTube lens, and
The Stack Overflow lens that you have there?
yeah, the Ask Ubuntu Stack Overflow one are kind of the same one. And someone's working on a Launchpad lens. So basically, we worked on making the ability to make lenses, and now that it's out, basically it's like, okay, I want everyone to make lenses, and then I'm going to collect them all up and put them in one place, and then people can just do what they want.
But right now, there's no unified lens repository, shall we say?
No, not yet. I'm actually going to, I'm working on putting them in the Ubuntu Extras repository, which is...
call it iOS
What?
for the optical departments.
Or if you can do, so when we, the one we really wanted to get going but we couldn't, is a people lens or a contacts lens, which so you can just type like a dude's name and it would show like everybody's heads and their contact information and stuff. So this is one of those things where we had to build the ability to make lenses before.
For the record, I think that's an excellent way to do it.
Yeah.
Put the ability in before you throw out a bunch of different.
Yeah, so our example lenses were, the applications lens and the file lens. So that's why I'm like, dude, if you want to make a classic applications lens, that's fine. But me, I'm personally can't wait to see people making website ones. Like I want a Google Docs lens that integrates, so I can just start typing in it. Gets my Google Docs and returns stuff like that.
Alright. So the ability there is to make money from every lens where I want to.
Yeah, you can actually make almost whatever you want, and then we get, so, I was like, man, if I had a Red Wings lens, and I just, type schedule, I should just return when they play next, that kind of stuff. And they integrate with the web and local app, so however you want to match those up, it would be really cool. But that's just a feature that's like brand new. Like the Ask Ubuntu lens, I had a guy like do for me as a favor, and he was rocking out. So the Ask Ubuntu lens is like 350 lines of Python, something like that.
And
so
they're
they're really easy to make.
There's two things I
And
want.
are they all locked to Python, or?
No, Python or Valo right now.
And there's two things I hope people leave with today, and it's how to get your Power User Guide.
Yeah.
And the Ask Ubuntu.
Yeah, again, tell us the Power User Guide.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Power
we will,
User Guide.
but this is my last question, and this is like
Sure.
the reason that Unity got me all riled up still a little bit. My biggest beef with Unity is that it feels like I've been strong-armed into adopting someone else's way of computing. I didn't like Ubuntu out of the box before, and if you watch the video, I switched it all over, get rid of the bottom panel, all that kind of stuff. I didn't like it out of the box before, but I could change it to suit my desires. And so is there any way for an average user to customize Unity? You touched on it a little bit, but even that is very limited.
So currently right now, this release was about shipping good defaults and making it work. Now that it's out there in 11.10, like I hate to sound like I'm making an excuse, but ask me in like a week and a half when I come back
from UDS.
Yeah, so I'm going to UDS next week is when we're going to iterate for 11.10. So I'll have a better idea of
the direction.
Yeah, what will be possible there. So like when people ask me about the movable launcher and stuff, now that we have, this cycle we've had like 17 non-employees contribute to Unity. Now that people are out there and the code is out there and we're shipping and playing with the code, it would not surprise me if people just start making it do that stuff, whether the design team likes it or not. Right? Like for example, there's a Notify OSD that they actually shipped in SUSE where the guy added like a close button and or whatever, but it still uses our old thing. And the guy just like forked the code. That's totally awesome. So like, the code is out there now. So people can do basically what they want. But as far as what Canonical and the Canonical team will do with Unity is very much plumbing, stability focused, right? So, a lot of that probably won't be your favorite crack features. But what we will do is like enable you to make custom stuff.
That's my
right, exactly. So it's like, you know what? Yeah, we can't do GNOME applets because they're unmaintained, so you can't put the fancy little stuff up here anymore. So let's make lenses so people can just make other cool shit that will give them the same stuff. Like someone should totally make a system monitors lens that when you click on it, shows you your little CPU graph, and because we can't have that anymore.
I want the paper lens.
Isn't it?
Now, isn't it with the new notification system, whatever it's called, on better terminology, it is possible for people to write things the correct way to keep them up there, right? Or is that
The
not?
app indicator thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
I've got code samples for you. I've got an entire guide supporting your stuff. We have example code. I even found bugs in important applications that we cared about. I'm like, yo, bro, you might want to check out app indicators.
Crap, like you guys are avoiding, but if people wanted to do.
Oh, so here's a great thing. If you want to fill that thing up with crap, at least it'll be consistent and scrubbable, and it'll behave the same way. Like, so by default, we say, we don't want to like we don't like to ship you. This is why we don't put icons on the desktop, right? We're like, dude, that's like for you. But out of the box, we ship something clean so you can move into it. So, out of the box, we don't ship stuff there. But if you want to go all crazy, you can. It's just not like the Wild West like it used to.
So can you put icons on the desktop, or are they just limited to the launcher?
No, you can actually put.
Because you tried to drag one from the launcher to
Yeah.
the desktop yesterday, and it didn't work.
Yeah.
It popped back over.
So you can put desktop files in. So this is how you get that to work. Go in like user share applications, find the desktop file, and just drag it to the desktop. What is a bug is dragging it from the launcher, and that's just a.
You can't, if you're basing it off Mac, which I'm not saying you can't do that either. You can drag it off.
I don't know. Because at home, I have my launcher, and then I have another set of applications that I care about, but not care enough about to put on my launcher. So that, and I sync my desktop, so that's how I kind of like sync my applications. Syncing the desktop files. That desktop. Sorry, that was really confusing.
Something like with Dropbox or Ubuntu.
Yeah. It would be really cool if I want to sync my launcher with Ubuntu 1, so when I add something to it on my other machine, that'd be sweet.
We're done, but if there's questions, there's nothing.
Yeah.
If I write a lens, what do I do with this? What do I do?
Get a hold of me. I'm actually responsible for lenses, so grab one of my cards.
But the get it out would be probably PPA first, correct? Is that the?
Yeah, actually, and I'm working on a quickly template, so you can get. So here's what I want. I want you to open a terminal and type quickly create lens, and it creates a skeleton for you. And then you go in there and you just modify what you want, and then you use whatever remote API you want. And then you type quickly package, and then it goes in a certain place, and then I go, oh, you're cool. And then I can find you. I'm planning on I'm working with OMG Ubuntu to do like a guide to lenses. They're going to start collecting lenses from around the web. And what I'm going to do is hopefully get authors like you to put them in PPAs, and then I'm going to selectively grab all the good ones and put them in one place, and then submit those as extras to the software center. What you want is not to tell people, hey, check out my lens, install this PPA. You just want to say, go to the software center and type, and then they'll find it. Yeah?
What does Unity mean for the future of the relationship between Ubuntu and GNOME?
That's a good question. So our main priority for this cycle for not the Unity team, but the desktop team is to port. We need to make the transition into Ubuntu to GNOME and GTK3, which we couldn't do because we're moving to Unity, and moving to GTK3 would have been like asking for failure. Unity's all GTK3 capable and is ready to use GNOME 3 technologies and stuff. We just got to pass a flag to it and rebuild it. So right now, parts of GNOME 3 are going into Ubuntu, like already. Guys have been working on it like in a PPA, and then we'll basically like recompile Unity. As far as the relationship between like Ubuntu itself and GNOME, we're still part of the GNOME Foundation. I still have to get a blog, I can throw a party. A lot of the technology is the same. It's just the shell part that's like different. So we still use Nautilus. We still use all the control center bits. We still use Network Manager. So all the bits are there.
I mean, what's the relationship though? I mean, do the gnome guys, are they, excited about this, cool with this, kind of cold about this?
So, it really depends on who you talk to. It's hard to say, how does this group of 1,000 people feel? I don't know. I think there's a lot of people who are probably disappointed that there's GNOME 3 and Unity. But I don't know. I mean, Linux has had so many different, like 65 audio subsystems. I don't think a little desktop thing is like something like really worry about. I think what's important here is to work on like commonality of like the plumbing and the code, because the shells themselves are actually pretty small. But as far as the relationship goes, I mean, I was on the GNOME Foundation board. I'm still a GNOME member. We have a lot of GNOMers and stuff. We're proud of GNOME. Yeah. We support GNOME financially. We host their machines, that kind of stuff. It's just that we, like I said before, sort of like I still love my mom, but I want to live in the same house with her. Especially when you're like turning 19, right? So, we have more in common. Thank you. We have more in common with GNOME than not. So I still consider myself a GNOMer, even though I use Unity. I know some.
So there's now 3 things that I want to really cover.
Okay.
And then it's also 2 questions, but we're close to the end. The one is I lost all right. The asking about you. Can you just talk about where that is and asking questions? Because the forums tend to be, you search and all this is how to do it in Ubuntu 6.04.
Yeah. So how many of you use Stack Overflow? How many of you are programmers? It's like the
I'm not a
greatest
programmer,
site.
but I use Stack Overflow.
It's like the greatest site ever. So they started doing this thing called Area 51 where you can like make your own Stack Overflow if you bring enough people. So someone started a Ubuntu Stack Exchange proposal, and now we launched. It's called askubuntu.com, all one word. And I actually have Unity developers and Ubuntu developers in there asking questions in their respective tags. So if you actually have an implementation question about lenses, you can ask it there, and like Mikkel will actually like answer it because I make them. So it's pretty cool. But it's a really great way to do Q&A because when you join it, you can vote on the quality of answers. So if someone's wrong, sort of like in Reddit or Slashdot, except for technical stuff. And you can burp and do stuff. So if you have any questions about how to use stuff, definitely ask on there because we have a nice fact that's auto-generated from all the questions. So this is where you're going to find out, how do I customize this part? How do I resize the launcher? And I've spent all cycle basically dumping my homemade documentation into these answers. So there's a good chance that.
So where I used to go to the forums to ask questions, or actually Google would take me to the forums.
Yeah.
But this askubuntu.com seems to be a much more.
This is focused. Like in the forums, like in a Stack Exchange system, there's no subjective questions. They're like closes off topic. So it's like, how do I change the launcher? And then you get the answer and how you change the launcher. In a forum, that would be buried on page 36, because the first 35 pages would be people arguing. No, well, you're wrong. I don't know myself. And then it's just like, and then you finally get to page 35, and you find the one piece of golden nugget, right?
Ask Ubuntu, you can promote that to the top.
Yeah, and that always, the mass of people voting kind of promotes it to the top. That, and I don't know if this ever happens to you, you like search for something, and you find the page for the forum, but it's wrong, and you can't fix it. That infuriates me. It's like, oh man, I know that breaks people's computers. So you're like, okay, I'll be good, and then you post a new thing saying, guys, the first, because the guy whoever wrote it, it's like gone. Yeah, guys, the first page is totally wrong. I think it's bad for computers. And then it bumps it, and everyone's like, Nick Romancy, and then they close it because that's how forums work. Or it's on page 37 of the thread, and no one's going to read it. So it's like, you ever see this thing with forums where it's like, this is my guide to do something awesome, and then you scroll down halfway, and it's like, wait, that's totally wrong. So
FW-Cutter.
Yeah, FW-Cutter. So with Ask Ubuntu is great because if you see something wrong, it has a wiki element. You can just propose and edit, and then higher reputation users like me will peer review it, and then we get a cool little div, and we go, oh, this dude's right, and then we hit approve.
I looked at it this morning, and I actually posed a question. It looks great.
Yeah.
The other thing.
Forums are great though when you want to talk. So what I like is I like the technical stuff to be on Ask Ubuntu, but I love to read threads where someone's like, what do you hate and love about Unity? And like in the forums, it's like 45 pages. And it's basically what we're talking about today. Now, I love reading that stuff. However, I don't want that mixed up with
the technical.
When my shit is broken, I want an answer right now.
Exactly.
Right. I don't want to wade through 35 pages of crap.
The other thing, where's your power user guide?
So it's on my blog. If you actually Google for the power user guides to Unity, it's easier to say that than to read out my URL.
Okay, power user guide.
Yeah, it's linked. It's linked from a lot of places. So what I did is I took all the best answers from Ask Ubuntu, the forums. I made a few videos. I made a video on how to multitask. If you're like if you like workspaces and alt tabbing and stuff, I made a video on how I do it at home because I've got I've got it all set up. So I got videos on there, links to facts, a lot of good information. And then OMG Ubuntu has a natty guide that's really, it's at like
freakishly.
It's like better than what's on Ubuntu.com.
Yeah, stuff you didn't even know was in Ubuntu.
Yeah.
It's called OMG Ubuntu. All
Yeah.
Just like the natty guide, I think is what
it's called the natty guide.
And then the last thing I want to say is, what is the proper way to tell? I mean, I can catch you in the bar and talk to you, but things like I want to be able to move lenses, like when I get my menu lens, I want to be able to move that to the top.
Right.
Who do I tell that to?
So one of the questions I ask them is, how do I file a bug in Unity? And
it's not a bug though, it's a feature request.
Yeah, well, it's a bug, but you would mark it wish list.
Okay.
And then you would say, this is a wish list request, I think this is stupid, blah, 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 blah. And then you'll hit submit, and then 35 seconds later, I'll come along and I'll duplicate it. And to the other bug where like 900 people are telling you the same thing.
And where do I do this?
You follow the bug in Launchpad, or we have a bug submission tool. You just open a terminal, type Ubuntu-bug space Unity. It'll just report.
One. Sure. Who picked the name Unity since it's definitely not unifying?
So that's an interesting question because everyone's like, "Why are you calling it Unity?" I mean, it doesn't, because people heard Unity, they're like, "Okay, only Mark can put them together," which is like a lie.
That's what I thought too when I first.
Yeah, it's supposed to be Unity. So we had a netbook edition and we had a desktop edition. And
you unified.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she's like, "Oh, that's a lame."
I just thought you wanted to actually start with the Unity.
Yeah, and then we do have everything used. And because Unity's new, we do cool stuff. Like we do full multi-touch with pads. So on the newer Macs, they could do 4-finger touch. So if you just swipe all 4 fingers on it, the launcher comes out. And you can do like resize and stuff. Okay. I only have 2-button multi-touch.
Well, thank you all for very much.
Yeah. If you have any questions, feel free to